Ever since the return of Boruto into Blue Vortex, there's one thing that has yet to be addressed, which is the absence of Momoshiki Otsutsuki. Now of course this is of the utmost importance since his presence was the main contributing factor to Kawaki's obsession with getting rid of Boruto. What this then means is that Momoshiki's continued presence or lack thereof will be the deciding factor as to whether Kawaki continues to go after Boruto or suspends his mission temporarily. You see, we all know that this will eventually lead to Kawaki threatening to send Boruto to where he sent the 7th, which would be Ishiki's dimension where time doesn't flow. Now this is clearly a shift from Kawaki's current position, which would be to kill Boruto, not seal him. So there's obviously a reason why Kawaki ends up thinking that it's feasible to seal Boruto instead of killing him. And just to clarify, I'm fully aware of the fact that Kawaki was initially intending to seal Boruto, but later realized that it wouldn't be possible due to Boruto having the ability to absorb jutsus, including his space-time vortex. Now if I'm being honest here, to me this wasn't a valid reason since all you would really need to do is just beat Boruto till he's unconscious, then seal him away. Which to be fair might have been Kawaki's goal, but he just didn't say it at that time. Even so, the point is that Kawaki ends up going back to sealing Boruto away by the time you get to the battle atop the Okage monument. And that change is likely possible due to a change in the Momoshiki situation as well. You see, when it comes to Boruto theories and all that stuff, we've seen many theories on how you could have gotten rid of Momoshiki in the past. The main one being Sasuke using the human path ability of the Rinnegan to extract Momoshiki's soul from Boruto's body. This of course hinges on whether Sasuke's Rinnegan has all the abilities of Madara's Rinnegan, which was never stated or proven to be the case. So far we've seen different Rinnegans from different entities that possess different abilities. Even Momoshiki had 2 Rinnegans that couldn't absorb chakra, despite that seemingly being a base ability of other Rinnegans. So we can't just assume that Sasuke's Rinnegan has all the abilities of someone else's Rinnegan and then some, which would be referring to the abilities only Sasuke displayed. With that said, even if we assume that he could, there's also the issue of the human path being able to differentiate between the soul of Boruto and the soul of Momoshiki. We have to remember that the karma only anchors Momoshiki's soul to the land of the living, which is why we see him standing next to Boruto when he interacts with him. His soul isn't inherently stored within Boruto's body, like say let's say a Jinchuriki housing a tailed beast. With that said, the situation changes when Momoshiki possesses Boruto's body in order to control it. In that case, there's now something to grab onto and extract from his body. Well, assuming the human path can decide which soul he removes from the body. Now this doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things since Sasuke lost his Rinnegan to Momoshiki after the battle with Ishiki. So even if it was a viable option before, it isn't anymore. You could even argue that since he didn't try it, the option wasn't viable in the first place. Even so, the possibility of extracting Momoshiki still does exist, and the method I explained before is still applicable with a few changes. In that instead of using Sasuke's now non-existent Rinnegan to extract Momoshiki's soul, we can use the weapons of the Sage of Six Paths himself. You see, the Sage of Six Paths, or Hagoromo, had 4 insanely overpowered ninja tools that fell into the possession of the hidden Cloud Village. One of them called the Golden Rope that squeezes the spirit word out of a trapped ninja. And then we also have the 7 Stars Blade that severs and curses that ninja's spirit word. After which we have the Crimson Ground that records that spirit word and seals its speaker within it. Now I did mention 4 tools, but the Leaf Fan isn't really relevant to this video since all it does is conjure up all 5 chakra natures. So we're gonna focus on these 3 tools before we get to the other one on the list. Now the reason why these 3 tools are so revered is because it doesn't take much to seal away someone. In fact, Tenten planned on sealing away Ten-Tails Madara using these tools, but just couldn't get to him in time. What this could mean is that these tools could have been used to get rid of Momoshiki and Momoshiki Otsutsuki. With that said, the function itself is actually quite simple. As seen in the battle versus the Golden Brothers, all the user would need to do is touch you with the golden rope to extract your spirit word. Then the next step would be to curse that word using the Star's Blade, then simply record that word using the Crimson Ground. Once this happens, if the person utters their spirit word even once, they will then get sealed into the ground itself. By the way, the spirit word is pretty much the word you've said the most since the time you were born. So there's only one way around getting sealed, and it's by first knowing that you mustn't say your spirit word and also knowing what that spirit word is. This simply means that unless you can prove that Momoshiki knows about the sealing tools, he would likely fall into this trap, especially since Momoshiki loves to talk, so this is like his kryptonite. Now let's say someone was stupid enough to tell Momoshiki what they are trying to accomplish, which wouldn't happen, but let's say that they did. And let's say Momoshiki has the intuition to not speak, because it's unlikely that he knows what his spirit word is. What would then happen is that he would still be sealed anyway, since as stated by Dowry, you can still get trapped if you stay silent for too long. So in essence, it's the same end result either way. Now what then becomes a problem is whether the tool is capable of sealing Momoshiki mechanic-wise. This goes back to the issue of the human path being able to choose which soul to extract from a single body. You can assume that it could, but there's no way to prove it since it never happened. Now this one is a bit different based on how it seals the target in my opinion. In the sense that if Momoshiki was to possess Boruto at the time the rope touches him, then it's possible that it would extract his spirit word, not Boruto's, or maybe even both of them. And then when Momoshiki says that word, it would then extract him and absorb Momoshiki's soul, since it's his curse word, not Boruto's. Now of course this depends on how sophisticated the sealing tool is. Maybe it isn't smart enough to distinguish between two souls, despite the goal being to seal the person whose spirit word was absorbed. So in essence, if it then goes and absorbs Boruto simply because the soul it requires also possesses his body, it will be going against the mechanic of the tool itself by which it seals an individual. Then again, it all depends on whether it would absorb Momoshiki's spirit word in the first place by touching Boruto's body while he inhabits it, which I think is possible. Now there's also the issue of whether these tools are still usable, since Dari stated that they wouldn't be able to seal someone again since they sealed away Kinkaku along with the golden rope. This simply means that they can't extract the spirit word from someone else to seal it within the ground. Now initially when constructing this video, I thought this could have just been a possibility if they were to somehow find the tool used to seal Kinkaku, unseal him, and then retrieve the rope. They would then be able to use it along with the grout to then test it on Momoshiki. By the way, Madara spat out the sealing weapons after he absorbed the Gedo statue, which then landed on the backs of Guy and Lee. Tenten then took them into her possession, which is why we later saw them sealed within one of her scrolls. So at that point, all Tenten needs is the rope stored within the grout she's in possession of. Now what I didn't know is that they already did what I was going to suggest that they do, since in chapter 700 of Naruto's manga, it's literally shown that Tenten has the rope and the crimson grout in her weapon shop marked not for sale. So this simply means that she would just need to retrieve the sword from the hidden cloud village if she doesn't already have it, and that way she can then use it to try and seal Momoshiki. Now of course they can't just let Boruto know what the plan is, since Momoshiki might be listening. So I think they would just create a scenario where Boruto runs low on chakra, which would then bait Momoshiki into taking over his body. So this is definitely a scenario that could have played out or at least been tested, but it never was. But that doesn't mean that Sasuke, Kashin Koji, or even the Toads wouldn't have tried it at some point during the 3-year time skip. All they would need to do is infiltrate the village and steal the items, which they've all done at one point. So it isn't out of the realm of possibility. Then again, we also have the Amber Purification Jar, which is the 5th tool of the Sage of 6 Paths. Now this was actually used to seal away Kinkaku after Ginkaku was sealed using the ground. Now this one is absolutely broken, since all you have to do is say the target's name, and if they respond, their voice is recorded and then they're sealed away. It's really that simple. So all they would need to do is just say Momoshiki's name, he simply responds and gets sealed. Now this of course brings us back to the same old conversation about whether they can distinguish between the two souls, especially in this case when the target is literally responding to their own name. So would Boruto be sealed away along with Momoshiki even though he isn't Momoshiki? I guess it all depends on Kishimoto. Now what also depends on Kishimoto is whether or not these possibilities are addressed in the story, since the reason why we don't have a definitive answer to these questions is because they were never posed in series. So all we can say at this point is that they were never posed or tried because they wouldn't have worked, even though we have no idea why they wouldn't have worked. Now I mention that because there is indeed another way Sasuke could have addressed the Momoshiki situation, and it once again has to do with the Renegon and the human path ability. This stems from chapter 551 when Nagato tried to extract Naruto's soul using the human path, to then have it stored within the King of Hell. So just to be clear, he's using both the ability of the human path and the Naraka path to accomplish this. Now Kabuto said that his plan is to have Nagato extract his soul and then kill him. He would then hide Naruto's body and soul in the King of Hell hell and then revive him later on. What this simply means is that for those who believe that Sasuke had all the 6 paths abilities, he could have solved the Momoshiki situation by simply killing Boruto temporarily, then revive him later on by placing his soul back into his body. The reason why this would have worked is because Momoshiki's soul is anchored to the world of the living by his vessel. So if his vessel dies, not only is Momoshiki going to die again, but his soul would be instantly extinguished. This was stated by Momoshiki himself, by the way, so I'm not making this up. In fact, they already knew that killing Boruto was always on the table regardless of what Momoshiki said later on. So why didn't Sasuke at least try killing him and then bringing him back later on, since Sasuke is regarded as the smartest and most analytical ninja in the existence of the franchise? Why wouldn't he know that he has the ability to do that, since he's stated to have mastered the Rinnegan in the novels? Well, the answer is that he simply doesn't have all the 6 paths abilities, or Kishimoto simply forgot that this was a possibility, or could simply just give the robot debate bro answer, which is that they tried it off screen and it didn't work. As you can see, I'm giving the answer for whatever side of the fence you're on. If you believe that he has all the 6 paths abilities, you could just say that he tried it off screen and it didn't work. But if you believe that he doesn't have all the 6 paths abilities, you can just say that he never tried it because he simply couldn't, since he doesn't have those abilities, which I think makes the most sense. So as you can see, I'm personally leaning towards him not having those abilities, but let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section. Also, let me know if you think Momoshiki has been sealed away, and if so, how? Of course, you guys can go wild in the comment section. I don't mind outlandish theories, just try to connect it a little bit so we can try to structure something. Of course, I think it most likely comes down to Fuinjutsu, which is sealing jutsu. I think that's the most likely case here, but we don't know what type of Fuinjutsu it was, so I guess that's the question really. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Drop a like if you like the video and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.